Well, good evening, fellow mathematicians, and welcome to another episode of Math Notes. I am your host, Mr. Pratt, and today we are going to actually find the solution to systems of inequalities. Now, systems of inequalities, as you're going to see, actually have an infinite number of solutions. So today we're going to talk about how to find the solutions graphically. So turn to your notes, find Tuesday, April 21st. Day 7 for Unit 5, and let's get started. So, systems of equations by graphing. Let's fill in that first blank. A system of inequalities is a set of two or more linear inequalities. Not equations, inequalities. Two or more, you could have more, but in algebra today we're only going to have two. Second bullet, the solution set, and we use the word set specifically, is of a system of inequalities, is all of the points that fall in the overlapping shaded region of the graph. Now we say set because it's all the points, and if it's a shaded region, there's going to be a whole bunch of points in that region. And again, here's the important part. In red, the overlapping shaded region, that's going to be the area that makes both of these inequalities true at the same time. Okay, third bullet point. Systems of inequalities can have what type of solutions? Well, you could have either no solution or your only other option is infinite solutions. Isn't that funny? No solution happens rarely and would look like this. We've got two parallel lines. If the lines are exactly parallel and they are shaded inversely or inverted shading, then one is shaded below the line and one is shaded above. The lines never cross because they're parallel. So we will never have overlapping shading. But that's not typical. Here's what normally happens. Most lines are not parallel. Most pairs of lines look something like this, where they cross at some point. And if they cross and it's an inequality, then those two lines are shaded above or below. If it's shaded, let's just shade this one below. Let's shade the other one below for simplicity. No matter how we shade this, and I encourage you to try a couple different methods to test me. No matter how I shade this, if I shade one above or below and the other one above or below, I'm always going to get an overlapping region. That overlapping region, I'm going to color purple for the sake of this PowerPoint, these notes, and that represents all of your solutions. Every point on the graph that's in the purple region is a solution to the system of inequalities. So that's what we're looking for. In the examples that follow, we are looking for the purple region. Where do the shaded places overlap? Now, as an aside, you can do this on the calculator. All of us had calculators for months and months together in class. However, now we're at home. If you have a TI-84 or an app that's similar, or you can have an emulator or some kind of program, these steps, follow them exactly, and you will get the calculator to find the shaded region for you, and that'll be really handy. However, most of us do not have a TI-84 at home, and so we're going to we're going to solve the examples by hand, which isn't too bad. We're only doing a couple of them, and it would be pretty quick. Okay, example 1. So if you'd fill in with me on your notes, here's our 5 steps. First step, pretty easy. Make sure the equations are on the y equals format. So I look at my equations, inequalities. Y less than or equal to 3x plus 2, and y greater than negative x plus 4. Okay, they're both in y equals format, or the y is isolated in both of those. So let's graph them. We start by graphing the top inequality. Start with the y-intercept, then follow the slope. Then we're going to identify, is it dashed or solid? And then we're going to decide, do we shade above or below the line? So up here in blue, I've identified the y-intercept is at 2. The slope is 3. 3 is clearly the coefficient of x. So 3 is the slope. This line's going to be solid. As we covered yesterday, if it's greater than or less than or equal to, it's going to be a solid line, meaning that line is included in the solution. And the shading here will be below the line. Why is that? Well, because it's less than. The inequality is facing left. So let's graph some of this. The y-intercept is at 2. We get a nice purple dot there. The slope is 3. So we're going to follow our rise over run up 3 over 1, up 3 over 1. Then we're going to draw our solid line through all 3 points. And the shading will be below the line. Ooh, that is good shading. Someday you may grow up to be as good a shader as Mr. Pratt, but probably not. Okay, sorry. Step number 3, graph the second equation. Same idea. So the y-intercept here is 4. The slope is -1. Wait a second, Mr. Pratt, there's no -1 in that problem. You're quick. But the coefficient of x here, when we don't see a number, is understood to be 1. So the coefficient of x is -1. Our slope is -1. Additionally, this is going to be a dashed line. You can see that the greater than symbol is not underlined. It's not or equal to. So the line will be dashed. And because it does say y greater than -x plus 4, it's shaded above the line. So let's put our our intercept there, purple. Follow the slope, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1. And let's put our dashed line through it. Beautiful. Now this should be shaded above, so let's shade everything above that line. Gorgeous shading. Now, where is the solution to these system of inequalities? Well, it's going to be where those things overlap. Step 4, do we have infinite solution or no solution? Well, these clearly overlap. We're going to have infinite solutions. So let's identify the region where the shading overlaps. I'm going to color it purple. Zip. Everything in there, any point in that region, is a solution to the system, to both inequalities at the same time. Okay, let's go on to example 2. Example 2, up at the top left here, -4x plus 2y greater than or equal to 8. That's in a system at the same time with y is less than -2x minus 3. So the exact same 5 steps. Step number 1, make sure the inequalities are in y equals format. The y needs to be isolated. Woo, woo, woo. That's not your phone alarm. Nope. That's the alarm in my brain telling me, wait a second, Mr. Pratt, this y at the top left is not isolated. This is what we'd call standard form for an equation or for an inequality. So we need to get that y by itself. So we are going to space, move, divide. Maybe you've done some yoga or a dance or whatever. Space, move, divide to convert from standard form to slope-intercept form, and we get y is now greater than 2x plus 4. Okay, well from there, I can identify the y-intercept, the slope. The y-intercept must be 4. The slope must be 2. 2 is the coefficient of x. The line's going to be solid because it says or equal to under the inequality. And the shading will be above because its y is greater than 2x plus 4. So we have our intercept at 4. Our slope is 2. Let's place our line. And we are going to shade greater than. Beautiful red shading. Love it. Okay, step number 3, graph the second equation. The second equation will be easier. The y is already isolated here. So we have the intercept is -3. The slope is -2, so it's going to go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. And this time the line is going to be dashed, a dashed line. The shading should be below the line. Beautiful blue, like a baby blue, like the Chargers uniform sometimes. Gorgeous. Poor Chargers. Anyway, can you see where those two regions are overlapping? I'll give you a second. I recommend pause the video and go ahead and shade in purple, if you have purple, where the solution to this system of inequalities is. Okay, you should have gotten that region that I just highlighted. That is where the overlapping is. Any point in there is going to be a solution to the system of inequalities. You guys have been a fantastic audience today, way better than last time. I appreciate you having your cell phones put away the whole time and not watching YouTube or anything else while I'm talking. You're the best students in the whole world. Thank you for dealing in this situation so well with us. Your assignment looks just like these examples I've done. You can refer to this one or to yesterday's if you need help graphing any lines. Lots of examples between the two notes. So do your best. Let your teacher know when you finished your assignment. Maybe email them or remind them or text them a picture of it. Let them know you're out there, you're thinking of them, and we are thinking of you guys. We miss you. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you're staying safe. So if I don't talk to you again, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.